Hey guys, it's Mark from Gratuitous Sets. You probably knew that. A client called us up and they asked for toast because that's my job. I bought this online. This is just a fake food product, toast. The problem is that I could smell it. First of all, it's floppy, so this would not work for what they needed to do, and there's got to be something embedded inside, and that's a whole series of problems. But not only is it floppy and stupid looking, but you smelled it, or I smelled it, and it was like, oh crap, it's vinyl. And vinyl and silicone don't get along well because sulfur, again. So we tried making the first mold half anyway, and the silicone that was touching it, that thin layer right there, it didn't catalyze and it was sticky, and kind of, that's not gonna work. Can't pull something, casting out of something that's sticky and gross. So the first thing I tried doing was applying a thin epoxy to this, and it's actually peeling off in places. You can see it right there. So that didn't work. It still didn't work. So I went to, by the way, here's the mold. So ultimate success. But I went and talked to Phil over at Smooth On, and this stuff right here is, it's dissolved platinum in some sort of a solution. I don't know if it's acidic or what's holding the platinum in solution, but it holds platinum in solution. And he brushed it on my sticky mold fail, and it immediately cured. So fantastic. This stuff is not cheap, but if you end up with a curing inhibition problem like that, the stuff is called Inhibit X, and it's brilliant stuff. So obviously this is not desirable, so we pulled castings, and I used 320 from Smooth On. So it's an opaque white resin, and we mixed a little bit of yellow with it so that if for some reason it chips, I've got a color that's not going to really scream at you that there's a chip in the toast. Again, you're trying to like figure out what it would look like on the inside if it did chip, because if it does, then it's still going to look natural. Here's toast the way it came out of the mold. And then from this point on, Anna is going to do a brilliant airbrushing job that you'll get to watch, and we'll turn this yellow piece of weird, oh, by the way, here. It's a bit stale, but you'll get to see Anna do a paint job. Oh, one other thing. We were doing color tests to see what our palette was going to be. That's another step that we have to go through. This one, I like the value of this, but it's a bit pink. And then Anna had done this one, which really looks like toast, but it's a bit overdone, or pumpernickel-ish. And we're not doing pumpernickel, we're doing toasted wheat or white bread. So this is a bit too dark, but the color palette is great. But we want it to be more like this value. So that's somewhere between these, but in this color palette is where we want to be.
Hey guys, so I'm going to show y'all, after Mark's lovely little speech, I'm going to show y'all how to actually paint these toasts so that they don't look so funky yellow anymore. We're gonna try and get them a little bit more realistic. Let's see, I have a few of them laid out here on a board because I make a mess. I've got some of my paints here, I've got some fluid medium, and I have an airbrush underneath me that you'll see in just a second. And basically this is all you need to start airbrushing some toasts. I've already gone ahead and hit these with a base color of this really light beige. And now I have mixed up a little pot of like my second color. There's about 5, 6, 7 steps to this that we are going to go through, or you're going to see most of them at any rate, and all of them are pretty repetitious. So today we're using a dual action airbrush. It's super neat. You press the button down, you can maybe hear it, the air goes, and then as you pull it back, there's a little needle in there that goes backwards and releases the paint onto whatever surface you're painting on. So you have a lot more control with this. I am pretty new to the airbrush, but it's been a ton of fun, and I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all as much as I know. So you'll see I'm working on a number of toasts here. We've got 12 in total that we are making for our client, even though they only need 8 for an 8-slice toaster. And during the game, like, people are gonna put the toast slices all in there, push the toaster pedal down and something is going to happen. And
So it's reactive toast.
it's reactive toast. All right, guys, I'm gonna interrupt the time lapse real quick to talk a little bit about what I'm actually doing with this toast. Now that you can see some of the darker tones that I've been putting on there, you might notice that sometimes I'm like holding the toast and the gun flat to each other. This is so that when I spray some of these darker colors, you'll see that some of those darker flecks of colors actually catch on the edge of the ridges of the toast rather than just sitting flush on top or going into the little divots that are there. This kind of helps it look a little bit more three-dimensional, a little bit more toasted and better textured. I mean, it is three-dimensional, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's highlighting the high points is what it's doing. Then once I'm done with all of the airbrushing, we're gonna come back, we're gonna do a little bit of dry brushing on top just to really add those final details and make it look nice and toasted.
So, Anna has done a brilliant job of airbrushing these guys, and we've got a fantastic multi-dimensional, multicolored, there's like 6 steps in this job of airbrushing, which you just watched the time lapse of. And I'm gonna add the little final thing at the end, because Anna lets me. And that's just gonna be a tiny bit of dry brushing in the darker areas to give it a little bit of little microscopic, little overdone parts. So it's just, I'm barely hitting it, but it's gonna be that one little thing. So let's do that. And you've seen me dry brush stuff before, so I'm not really loading anything in the paintbrush, and I'm gonna basically brush it out so there's almost nothing left. And let's go down here. So just take my, my brush and look for where the darker areas where it's been toasted more, and then just highlight that with a little bit of dark edges. And that just sort of brings out the last little bit of life in our toast, which is, honestly, it was gorgeous already and probably could have just, you know, sat the way it was, but we are obsessive people, and we do a little bit beyond where we might need to go, but well, what the hell, it doesn't hurt anything, and it's just, I think, that much better. So that's it, guys. We have 12 pieces of magnetic toast, and that'll be delivered to the client. This one's Red Door again, and it'll operate their toaster, which I can't tell you anything more about that, but it's an A-slice toaster, and you have to engage all pieces simultaneously, and it does the thing. We've had quite a bit going on in the studio, and hopefully this will be part of a bit of a rapid fire series of videos dropping for you so that you've got something more to see. And if you haven't done it before, and subscribe and all that kind of stuff, and we'll see you very soon.